You're already here, and they're literally waiting on you.
We need your opinions on Malamar.
Hey!
Yeah. So like good friends and stuff. I faced against Noah Sawyer, who goodbye.
See ya, bud. All right.
He didn't like my answer.
Yo, how's it going, guys? We're doing TCG back at it again with another video, and today we're doing an Origins SPE meta discussion. I got 3 guests here, Mike, Alec, and Ben. So feel free to introduce yourselves in that order. Go ahead.
Hey, everybody. I'm Mike. Recently top 4 in Santa Clara, local scrub. No longer sponsored. Pass it to these guys.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Alec.
Oh, okay. What's up, guys? My name's Alec. I'm on every meta discussion, so this is probably a usual. Sponsored by Origins Gaming. And if I get 2 seconds at the Origins Cups, the expanded cups, I get my invite. So let's get it.
Does anybody here have an invite?
Do you?
No.
Do you have your invite? I thought you were
Yeah,
at it.
I do.
I just just gotta get 256 at internets or cups.
Sorry, let Ben go.
Yeah.
Ben CRYER. This is my first year Masters. I got 2 day 2s so far, and I'm like a little under 100 away. So a cup placement plus an NAIC placement gets me there, or a really good Origins placement can get me there too.
Nice.
All right. So to start it all off, obviously we're going to talk about the biggest deck in the meta right now, Reshizard. How do you feel this deck stands right now, and what do you think is the best build of the deck? We'll continue in the same order. So yeah, same order.
To be honest, I think that deck is god awful. I hate Reshizard. It takes literally no skill to play. But if I was to pick it up, and I figured that I was going to play 3 mirrors in Origins / NAIC, I would probably play the Jirachi version.
Yeah, it's a deck that gets you points, that's for sure. So that's the only reason I'm considering it. Even though I don't really like it. I hate linear decks, but I need to get my invite. So Reshizard's probably my top choice for NAIC. If I had to pick a version to play, I'd probably play DDG's version, but you need to add a rescue structure and a couple bans to play the mirror, or to actually stand a chance in the mirror. So right now I feel like you fold if you just face up against an opposing Reshizard. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the Jirachi version. I think it's definitely better. I kind of like the more 1 prize based versions, like with the 2/2 Arcanine and stuff like that. But I definitely like the Jirachi version over greens.
Yeah, 2/2 Arcanine is gas.
2/2 Arcanine is really good right now. Yeah, so that about covers Reshizard. So another top tier deck that is mainly built to counter Reshizard is the Zoro Water variants. Which of these variants do you think is the best position? So we got Slowking, Dugong, Gyarados, and then the one Glaceon that actually made day 2 in Madison. Which of these do you think is the best? And do you think they are viable at all?
Before Madison, I was running some test games with a couple of guys, and I used to play a lot of Zoroark, and I just feel like the deck just doesn't like people anymore. It's just it's not consistent. There's times when you can just run through a shuffle draw card and hit no Zoroarks and lose the game. I definitely would rather play the Silvally version of Zoroark.
Oh yeah, that's Silvally, yeah.
Instead of the Slowking or Dugong.
Well, because I know Ben, I'm gonna have to disagree on the Silvally version. The Silvally version sucks, even though I do really hot against him. I think that deck either pops off or it just sucks. You have to know what you're doing too. You have to sequence really well with that deck over other Zoroark friends. I think Alex Kreckler's list was the best from Madison because it had the potential to Oko Evilax with the Mars Shadow GX. I really like that. Venmo was talking to me about that before the event, and I highly considered it. And then I played Gramble because I was stupid, even though it was a really good choice. So I really like Kirkwood's list. If I would have played Zoroark, I'd probably play his 60. Maybe one change, but not even.
I really like the Dugong version right now. The one that Stefan Ivanov won a cup in some other event with the Larvitar. I just really like how Dugong's really good against Blacephalon because you can dodge Beastring turns. And then it's also good for just softening things up. Like you can poke an Evilax and then choice ban a Larvitar to KO it next turn. Kind of forces them to get Miltank, but if you muck, then they don't really have that option. So I think I like the Dugong version the most.
Yeah, I can definitely see all of that happening. And a deck that's kind of on the fringe right now based on its performance in the last regional in Madison was Stall. We saw Stall and Shedinja Control both top 8 Santa Clara, but neither of which top 8'd Madison. Do you think the deck is a good sleeper call? Do you think it's just outright strong, or do you think it's outright weak? Go ahead.
Like Stall in general, or just the Shedinja deck?
Either one. Neither of them made a showing in Madison.
I think that if you're going to play Stall like anymore, you have to play a Zoroark version of Stall, because all the other Stall versions get bodied by Reshizard. And as you can tell, I played 5 Stall decks on my day between day 1 and day 2 in Santa Clara, and I went 3-1-1 against them, and I was playing Zapdos. So I don't think Zapdos has a terrible matchup against Stall, or people who play Stall just think they're better than they actually are.
I said this in the Santa Clara meta discussion too. I feel like or Madison meta discussion, that it definitely feels like Night March and Expanded, where it pops off at one regs because nobody expects it, or it's a new format, and then like it just dies because everybody knows about it. I think Shedinja it's a good deck. Don't get me wrong. Like you get set up and everything, but when a deck has to play, when a Zoroark deck has to play Field Blower, 3 Guzma, and Palpad like already, and it's like own list, and you're not even teching for the matchup, and you're losing because they don't even have to tech for you. It's just bad. But yeah, I don't think Stall's good anymore. I wish it was because I really like Stall, but no, it's just really bad right now. Don't play it.
So based on that, do you think people should take out their techs?
No.
I would say probably not, because like what do you consider a tech? I guess do you
like
consider
Persian Oranguru, Stealthy Hood.
Definitely not. Make them pay. Make them pay is actually really, really good against Reshizard, like Finn said, because they Fiery Flint, and then they say pass, and then you go, cool, discard all your other cards except for 4 Fire Energy, and then you fold. Oranguru's good against like other stuff, like in the Zoroark mirrors and stuff like that, but granted, that's more like expanded. Stealthy Hood, I guess, I would personally cut Stealthy Hood, but I mean, Stealthy Hood against like Muck is really good and stuff like that, so depending on the deck, if you're running Stealthy Hood, I think you can keep it.
Yeah, I don't really like Star now. Just
There's
the fact
also
that. What's up?
Oh, there's also that soft Stall deck that plays Buzzmosa with the plumes.
Oh, that
the
deck's
one
soft.
Shintaro played in Japan. So I wouldn't cut any of my techs, because if you're playing like Reshizard or like Zapdos, you just get bodied if you don't understand what they're trying to do to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, go ahead, Ben.
I just don't like how Stall takes a bad Reshizard matchup right now. Like that's literally the last thing I would ever want to be losing to in this format. So that's my only issue with the deck right now.
Yep, for sure. And then the next archetype that we're going to talk about is an archetype that had a really big showing, contrary to everyone's opinion before the event, was Pikarom. In my meta discussion, everyone was against Pikarom for Madison, but a lot of people have kind of seen the light of the deck based on like Will Jenkins and Xander Perro's performances at the event. So do you guys think Pikarom is a viable call for Origins?
I think so. Will Jenkins was telling me that the Reshizard matchup is like a 55-45, and I mean it also depends on who goes first and how they draw. So, I mean, I've never played Pikarom or Reshizard, but I mean, I think I'd have no problem like picking up the deck if that was what I think was the best play.
Yeah, I was wrong about Madison. Like, I didn't think Pikarom was gonna be that good. Like, I thought it was gonna be fine. I didn't think it was gonna be that good. Like, I hate playing the deck because no matter what, I feel disappointed. Like I said, like without that Pika Box variant, that Pika Box deck was just really, really good. Would I play it? Maybe, just because like it's super strong and I need points. And I feel like if you know how to play it, it guarantees points as well. But you have to know how to play it. So, would I play it potentially? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I like Pikarom a lot right now. I think just like the fact that you can just like let loose and then like take a knockout on a Reshi, it's like that's just like really hard for them to come back from, I feel like. And I just like how the deck has like a ton of raw strength. It's a lot of pressure on, so I think it's still really good in this meta.
So do you think after Madison, Mew becomes an even more like card that you need to tech in your lists?
I thought Mew was already in a lot of the main decks that actually need it. Like, I was not expecting Pikarom to show up as hard in Madison, and I actually cut my Mew. And the matchup between Pikarom and Zapdos is still like Zapdos' favorite even then. But it's just like, do I want to make things difficult for myself in the matchup by cutting Mew, or do I just want to not even worry about it when I walk in and I see the matchup? So it just depends on what like you decide. Like if I was playing Zoroark, I would definitely play Mew. If I was playing Reshizard, I probably wouldn't, because whatever they're killing on the bench is probably almost irrelevant, and it's just for them to up their prizes or the prizes they take in their prize trade.
In Zoroark, you are running Muck though, so you'd still opt to run the Mew.
I was just say, go ahead first. I'll say what I was going to say after.
I mean, it depends. If in the early part of the game, it depends on if the Pikarom player just goes off, because there's a lot of times when they just let loose you and you end up like looking very bad, and then they just tag volt your board and you're just decimated and you lose the game. But I mean, maybe Mew can save you, but I mean, it depends on the kind of player you are, whether you decide to tech in a Mew for the worst situation that could possibly happen, or you just go Muck Judge and then you just win the game. I mean, it just depends on who you are and what you think you're capable of.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of covered what I was going to say. I was going to say Muck Judge is definitely my route, personally. But also, I feel like every deck, or every Zoroark deck, specifically should be playing the Kogas and the Chemical Breath Grimer, because Muck, Judge, and like if you have the Surge, I think some lists are still playing Surge. I don't remember if Alex Geissler did, but if you go like Surge, Judge, Kogas, that Pikarom is just like they can't do anything really because their aura's done. They have to retreat 3 energy off if they want to see their Pikarom, unless you judge them into like Guzma, like energy to retreat or something like that, or Guzma switch or something like that. Like still, they need a lot off of 4 or 5 cards essentially. So that's just my personal take on it.
Yeah, the Buck Judge seems really good against Pikarom in testing, but it's still not like super difficult for them to take a knockout after that. But I don't know, because with Mew, it depends on the Zoroark variant, really. Like, if you're playing the Dugong and Larvitar variant, I think Mew is probably better. But if you're playing like Zoro, Slowking, Persian, I think I like the Muck Judge route a little more.
All right, for sure. And the next deck on the list is Zapdos. It kind of fell off for Madison a little bit. It still had a couple showings in day 2. I don't think any top 8, if I remember correctly.
Drew lost his winning.
Yeah, so.
Who lost his winning?
Drew Kate. Yeah, he didn't lose his winning. He actually won, but then he just got bodied by resistance or something like that.
No, there was actually no 31s in top 8. It was all 32 clean cut. Yeah.
So you just got bodied in general. All right, cool.
Yeah. Okay. And lasered, by the way.
Is that the specific word we have to use now? Is that is that a Rudy Wade rule?
Yeah, it is.
Cool. Okay. Cool.
All right. Anyways, for Zapdos, do you think it's a good call going into Origins, or it's not as good based on the performance from Madison?
So you're asking the wrong person, because Zapdos is definitely my pet deck, and I've gotten 122 DMs to prove it. So I love Zapdos right now, and I think that it is the new Zoroark of the format. So it's literally the 50-50 deck when you walk into a room or a regional right now. I think it has no extremely bad matchups unless they truly tech to only beat you. And I think that I've kind of refined the list for... I'm getting a cell phone call. I've definitely refined the list over like the past week, playing it in like challenges and cups and stuff. And I think that if I don't find anything broken, I'm probably just going to sit with it. And it's definitely a deck that if you've been playing it for the most of the format since like Santa Clara, since it came through, I think you'll find that you'll be fine going into any meta.
If I could cut in here, going into this event, if I could take any loss to one deck, I think I would take a loss to Zapdos. So if that intrigues you, maybe other people feel the same way, that they would lose to Zapdos. So playing Zapdos would be a good call. That would be what I would think. I would take a loss to Zapdos. So yeah, continue out.
I'd say the opposite, actually. I don't want to lose to Zapdos right now, just because of that reasoning. Because right now Zapdos, even though it didn't, I'm gonna say it didn't do well at Madison, even though I think Drew K has topped like the past 3 standard regionals with Zapdos, and I think he's the best, probably one of the best Zapdos players that we have. And the fact that, I think Zapdos right now is in a really, really good spot. If I tested more, or if I had more time to test, I'd probably play it. But I think Zapdos right now is strong because nobody expects it to be strong for that reasoning. I guess. So yeah,
like I said, yeah.
Yeah, I know. So
I would take the loss to it.
So I guess I'm trying to counter what you say, but I'm putting it on the same side is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I don't know how to.
Its strength comes out of people wanting to take a loss to that deck rather than other decks.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think Zapdos is I just don't know. I just don't understand how you deal with the Miltank. You can kill the Miltank, but in terms of the Reshizard matchup, I think the only issue with that matchup is the Miltank, also the Arcanine. If you can't get the KO on Growlithe, that's hard to kill. And then in Green's Reshi, they have all the Volcanions that are hard to kill.
Yeah,
it feels like kind of an uphill battle to me.
I agree.
Real quick, there was a cup. I was at a cup this Sunday, whatever it was, 2 days ago. Franco Lamas played Zap Beast, and he played against Ryan Bruckner in finals, who played Reshizard with the Miltank. And he played the Spiritomb, and the Spiritomb actually was the matchup swinger, because what he did is he killed the Zapdos he killed the Miltank with the Zapdos, and then he just built up his Spiritomb, and Bruckner could never Guzma up his Spiritomb, because otherwise he's just he had to Welder every turn almost, or not Welder every turn, but Lily into Welder and all that stuff. And he just sat there with his Spiritomb, and then he would finally get swinging, and he'd just swoop away Arcanines. So I mean, I think the Beast version is good, but I don't know if I would play it.
Yeah, I can definitely see how Spiritomb would kind of help that matchup. Not necessarily win that matchup, but definitely help. So yeah, moving on to the next deck was the deck that won Madison, Blounds GX. I know our good old pal Joshua Sutherland played it, and he went 5-3-1. Anyways, do you guys think that this deck is still viable, or do you think that it was kind of a one-time thing to win the event?
What's funny is that one of my really good friends told me to play Blounds right before Madison, and I was like, nobody's playing Blounds. So you could tell where my head is on that. I've never even owned a Blound. I do not care for Blounds at all. And I think that despite the current meta that it's in, I don't think it's a one-trick pony. I think it'll come back and it'll be a thing. Because most people own Blounds already, so it's nothing for them to pull them back out of their binder and play them in another tournament.
Yep.
Yeah, I really like Blounds. It has a favorable Reshizard matchup. I'm not surprised that it won the event. I think if I had to pick a deck to play, like if the whole field was Reshizard, I definitely would say Blounds is definitely a choice. Yeah, I think the deck's super good. I think the deck is good but inconsistent, very, very inconsistent at times. Where you open those hands of like Treasure, 5 Energy, and like Marshadow or something like that, just those trash hands. I think you have to play Persian. You have like Persian's like the must go to version, I think, in my opinion right now. I don't know. I hate the thin mag line, but like you need Persian, so I'm not the one to like. I'm not gonna say much more because I don't like have games with the deck, but I know Ben does, so I'll let him finish it off.
Yeah, I put in a few games with the deck. And I agree on the Persian a lot. I really like Persian in the deck. Like Zach Lesage's list a lot. I played it to a cup this past weekend and I top 4 there. The deck, though, my only losses were just like me breaking, really. Like I got donked against a Pikarom, and then I bricked against a Reshizard. Like I had a hand clogged with energy, kind of like how Alex said, and I had to Lily for like 3 or something and just pass from there. But I really like the deck. The Persians feels super good, just like kind of like Zach said. You just kind of like checkmate your opponents at times. It makes like the energy switch turn a lot easier. You have a strong beastering turn almost guaranteed. And if your opponent targets on the Persian, you're keeping energy on Blound anyway, so you're gonna have a response attacker no matter what. So, but yeah, I think Blounds is really good right now.
Yeah, I can definitely see how the Persian would add lots of merit to the deck. But one thing to keep in mind is that the winner of the event in Madison actually won his first 2 matches in day 2 on coin flips. So that is one big part of the deck that you have to be signing up for if you're going to play it is using Bursting Burn and having some games actually come down to the coin flip. So if you're that kind of person, then it might be the deck for you. So moving on, another fire deck in the meta right now is Baby Blacephalon. A lot of people have stayed away from it because of the Marshadow and Judge knockout potential of a lot of other decks in the meta. But do you think the deck is strong enough to overcome these conditions?
No. No. That like the deck you literally crumbles to let loose, and most things can hit 120 now. And the only thing that it definitely beats sometimes is Zapdos. And I think that since Zapdos has taken a fall back, that this deck's definitely not going to be something I consider playing for the next tournaments that I see in this format. Maybe for Worlds.
I played against it at the cup I went to, and the only reason I almost even lost or didn't even stand a chance is because of 2 things. 1, I prized my Field Blower. 2, he didn't play Blacephalon GX. So, I don't know. I think the deck folds to Field Blower. It folds to multiple Field Blower. It folds to Let Loose. It folds to Judge. It folds to... I don't even know what else. It folds to Make 'em Pay, I think, too, maybe. Because, like, if you can discard their Fire Energy and Fire Crystal, like, out of their, like, 7-card hand, it's pretty bad. So, there are just way too many ways to play around it. So, I wouldn't play it. Maybe for Worlds, but not even then, I don't think, because I just don't want to play the deck.
I agree. I really don't like Babel Cephalon. Just seems really underwhelming, and as they said, it crumbles to a Muck Judge or something like that, or not even a Muck Judge with the greens version, but the Jirachi version seems slightly more consistent, but that just seems kind of bad because even things like Zapdos stand a chance against you then because they can just target down your Jirachis a lot easier.
Yep, and one thing that you should keep in mind if you are playing against Baby Blacephalon is to watch out for their Lusamine Prism turn, because I know that when I did an interview with Danny Chalet, he said that card caught a lot of people off guard, being able to kind of prevent your board state from changing for an entire turn to allow you to get another knockout is really huge. So just be careful of the 3-price turn when playing against Baby Blacephalon. Okay, moving into the next deck on the meta is Malamar. This deck kind of fell off a little bit in this entire new set, but I actually think the deck is really well positioned right now, especially right now after Madison. Do you guys have any thoughts on Malamar?
Definitely. I think the deck is really good right now. You obviously beat Blacephalon GX very well. You have a good Reshizard matchup if you play 2 Giratina, because you just spam the Tina an entire matchup. I'd probably play some spell tags in my list because the extra damage is actually kind of crucial. You can place it anywhere. And Ultra Necrozma, I would debate whether I wanted to use Ultra Necrozma or Necrozma GX because both GXs are really good, but I mean, the Ultra Necrozma GX gets through Mew, and I think Mew will definitely make a comeback. So I just and you also have a great Zapdos matchup.
I actually don't think you have a good Zapdos matchup.
Oh, trust me, you do. So trust me, you definitely do. So literally, you have to double E power. You have to triple E power to kill a Giratina. It's a double. You have to double E power to kill a Giratina, and then the Giratina comes back, gets Psychic Recharged on, bodies your Zapdos, and if they play Spell Tag, they literally just body your Jirachis later on in the game, and they add damage to all your little guys on the bench. Later on, once the board goes down to 6 prizes, doesn't even matter how small it is. They literally just go, I'm going to Ultra Necrozma GX and wipe your board and take 6 prizes. So, I mean, what's going on? It's definitely terrible.
I mean, when I was playing the matchup, the early turns where they're able to kill Inkays, followed by the later turns where they're able to Guzma Malamars, kind of makes you run out of Malamar pretty early, and that could be a huge issue when you're trying to drop the Ultra Necrozma, instantly Metal Psychic charge up to win the game. You don't have that out sometimes if the Zapdos player gets enough kills on Inkays and Malamars, which kind of makes the matchup sometimes unfavorable from what I found.
I mean, being that Zapdos is my pet deck, I'm not going to say that the matchup is like absolutely like terrible. It's probably like 50-50, depending on the skill cap of the players.
Hey guys, we're back. We had some technical difficulties here. We actually lost Michael. He left because he didn't like Alec's answer. But yeah, go ahead, Alec. Continue with the Malamar.
Yeah, so I'm going to kind of steal Ben's answer now and say I don't know why you would play Ultra Necrozma. I think the card, like, Malamar's just good. I think Malamar's good. I think I was going to play it for Madison with Team TNLG and because those guys are my homies and stuff. But like, I just switched to Gramble. Again, I don't know why. I switched Gramble with Arlo. I think Malamar's good. It has a good Reshizard matchup. It's got a decent Pikarom matchup unless they pop off turn 1. They need to which I mean a lot of the time happens, I guess, because I played against the Cup and he turn 1 full blitzed me and turn 2 tag bolted me, even though I had Mew. Like, because I was playing Gramble. I had Mew in my list, so he would have turned 2 Tag Bolted me. But if I was playing Malamar, I don't know if I would play Mew. But yeah, I think Malamar's good. Would I consider it? Probably. Don't like put the deck like out of consideration. The deck is still alive and it's like going to be seen.
Are we done with Malamar?
No, we got Ben's answer. And then Alec, you should stop shuffling bulk because the audio can pick that up.
Yeah, I definitely thought that somebody was definitely shuffling cards.
All right.
Yeah, SMD.
All right, Ben, go ahead.
So as I said, Ultra Necrozma, I'm not sure there's really a reason to be playing Ultra instead of just like a Psychic Mally or kind of like Ruka and Xiao's Malamar list. But I do kind of like the Chimecho plus Dugong combination. I think Grant Manley played it and won a cup and got second at another. Because you can like Bell of Silence and then your opponent can't get out Zoroarks or Weezings or Malamars, and then you can just sweep up their board with Dugong, and there's really not much they can do. They can't set much up after that. But I've also been looking at like a Psychic Malamar version right now with Dawn Wings and stuff because that feels like it's like really good against Blounds, and pretty good against Reshi. But yeah, I think Malamar's in a decent position right now. I think I'll probably consider it.
Yep, for sure. And the last main deck we're going to talk about is Weezing. So this deck feeds off of players not knowing how to play against it, but it is considered to be like extremely winnable for any player who knows what they're doing. So
At least more so.
At least more so. I beat him with eggs, by the way. Okay, anyways. Do you think that Weezing is a viable deck going into the Origins SPE, or do you think it's overhyped garbage?
I'm going with the latter, bro. It's definitely overhyped garbage. So everybody's been telling me that the Weezing Zapdos matchup is absolutely god awful, and that no matter in any best of 3, you should just LL. So I tied a Weezing in Madison, and I won a Weezing in Madison. So, and I was playing Zap Beast. So I definitely think the matchup is not bad. It just depends on who the player is and if you can get to your Coco Prism and your Coco GX fast enough. Because once you start taking prizes in the early turns with Zapdos, dropping your Coco GX definitely wins through the matchup on like turn 3, turn 4.
Yeah, I mean, I was on stream round 7 or something. I played the matchup terribly, but granted, my opponent drew like Jesus Christ, so I have no idea what to do against that. Yeah, I don't know what to do against that. I double supported because I didn't care, but like, if you draw like my opponent did round 7 on stream, if you go watch the VOD, then yeah, play the deck, you'll win every regional. But otherwise, I think the deck is overhyped garbage. Very inconsistent in the early game, even though you have like so many outs. You have Treasure outs, you have Lily outs, you have so many outs. I don't know. I think I hate spread. People don't know how to play against it, which is why it wins games. If you have a brain or have some IQ, you should learn how to play against it, and then you won't ever lose to it.
Facts.
Yeah, I don't really like Weezing that much. Again, if your opponent can stagger their Pokemon easily or just play smart and conserve their bench and conserve their resources and stuff like that, it just kind of gets stomped on. And there's also the fact that like your opponent can just like put down a Mew, and if they dodge their spell tags, it takes like 6 turns for you to kill a Mew. Otherwise, unless they like use KO. And then the deck I've also in testing found that it struggles with Dugong. Your opponent can just get like a Dugong turn and spread. So, but yeah, I don't really like it that much.
That deck also loses to Muck Judgment.
I sure does, bud.
All right, so now that we're done talking about all the decks, the next question on the list is, what are your top 3 decks for the event?
For Origins.
Yeah, Origins.
So coming off of Madison, I definitely like Blounds, even though I would never play it. I also think that after Madison, I would definitely be looking really hard at Shedinja Control. And number 3, I like Gardevoir GX. Like Secret Spring Gardevoir GX.
No Zapdos.
No. I mean, I would play Zapdos because that's me, but I really like Gardevoir, and I'm testing it right now. The other 2 picks that I had, the Blounds and what was the other one? Shedinja are just definitely like huge meta calls, because leaving Madison, there was mainly Reshizard, mainly Pikarom, and Zoroark, and Shedinja bodies all 3 of those.
Yeah, so going off of that, like just real quick, there was one Shedinja that tied his winning in. Had he not tied, had he won his winning in, I think he actually had a good chance of winning the event because nobody came prepared for it. But anyway, back to my top 3. Top 3, Granbull is still my number 1. I love the deck. I think it's really, really good still. You have a lot of like cute ways to play different matchups and stuff like that. And there's just a lot of like key cards in the deck that like a lot of the new cards that brought the deck back, which is why I decided to play it for Madison. Just gotta fix the inconsistency problems a little bit, which don't play my Madison list or Arlo's Madison list. That list is god awful. Even though like we loved it for the tournament, I definitely think the Great Ball version is better. Number 2 is probably Zapdos, because I just love Zapdos, and I've been testing a lot with Arlo and them, and I have good insight because I'm friends with Drew Kate. And 3 is probably Blounds, because I like to helmet it up and beat Reshizard players. So yeah.
In no particular order, Reshizard, Pikarom, and probably Zoroark Dugong. Just because I like how Zoroark Dugong can. I really like Dugong as a card. I think the card's just really good, and I think in combination with Larvitar, that's really smart to have some sort of answer to Eevee Snorlax. However, Zoroark variants can be pretty inconsistent in the early game. Reshizard is just a tank deck. If I would play Reshizard, it would definitely be the kind of hotbox version with the 2/2 Arcanine and Turtonator and stuff like that. And then for Pikarom, I really like. I liked Rahul's list that he built for everyone, but I don't like not playing a Rayquaza. I think playing a Rayquaza GX would be really good. But yeah, those are probably my top 3 picks.
All right, and the last question is, what is the best rogue deck for Origins?
Oh, Gardevoir GX, easy claps.
Shedinja or Granbull? Sorry, I don't know if you're done, but Shedinja or Granbull for me.
Yeah, I agree. Shedinja. I think it's really good.
And if I had a say, which I probably don't,
Nope.
the top rogue deck I've been testing a lot of, and I mean
Doesn't
a
matter.
lot, is Lost March. I think the deck is really, really good right now, and people are underestimating it a lot.
You get bodied by Zapdos.
Yeah, you lose to Zapdos. That's what I'm saying. I'll
leaking.
take the loss to Zapdos. But anyways, yeah, that's going to conclude this one. If you guys want to give any shout-outs on the way out, feel free to do so. Yeah, go ahead.
Shout out to Rudy Wade Music Group, or fan group. Those guys are wild. Those guys are wild.
Yeah.
There's going to be a Mike and Rudy feature 2019. Shout out to Jay Lesage. I'm doing a lot of work for this guy. Shout out to all you guys. You're all busted. Thanks for having me on the show. Excuse me, lasered. I messed up. I'm going to go body some nerds at the league.
Ooh, yeah. I'm gonna shout out my sponsor, New Ridge Gaming. They pay for my entry fees, so probably one of the best benefits in the game. Shout out to Arlo, Ben, The whole Madison gang that hung out for the week. That was pretty
Except
fun.
for Eli. Except for Eli. Not
yeah,
Eli.
No
Not
Eli.
Eli. Not Eli.
Shout out to
Guys,
Sutherland.
why are you hating on Eli so hard?
It's Eli. Come on. No. Shout out to Sutherland. Because he played
On
Browns.
God. On God.
Let's see what else. Oh, there was one more. Oh, shout out to the busted B&B that hotel I'm gonna be at. Shout out to Connor Fenton for inviting me to the hotel because that actually saved me a lot of trouble for Origins. And yeah, shout out to the Ham Gang. Ben, want to go ham?
Hammer out.
Ooh. Shout out to the gang at home, and shout out to my fiance, who definitely allows me to play this game when I should be doing other things.
Oh yeah, Mike's fiance is broken.
For Tapalula GX.
She's
Wait.
pretty lit. Like, definitely. I didn't even think she would remember that. So I think we actually, no lie, I think I tried to teach her how to play a game, and she sat for all of like 5 minutes, and she was like, I'll never do this again.
That's hilarious, yeah.
She was like, I'd rather do anything else, like literally. And I was just like, I guess I'm bodied.
You're what?
Laser,
bodied.
bud.
Yo, chill.
No, you're what?
Ben, finish this off so we can go.
Yeah, shout out, same as Alex, shout out whole Madison gang. It was a lot of fun.
No Eli's.
Just all my friends who helped me test and play. And then shout out to Joe. You know who that is, bud.
Yeah. Oh wait, also one more shout out.
Shout out to Bofa.
Shout out
Chill.
Shout out Lisa Hayes.
Who else we got?
Laser Gang.
Shout out all the Missouri people like Yeti Gaming and all them. Great place to play.
All right, I'm gonna cut it off here. See you guys in the next episode.
Shout out Bofa.
Shout out Bofa.